Let's bring in TRT World Editor-at-Large Ahmet Alioğlu. He joins me now from Leicester. So, Ahmet, it sounds like President Erdogan is getting more critical of the Arab League over its stance towards Turkey. Why is that?
Well, Robin, it's very hard for anybody to understand what the Arab League exactly wants from its criticism to Turkey's position in northern Syria. As President Erdogan just stated, Turkey is bearing the biggest burden from the Syrian conflict. Where was the Arab League when the people on the ground, the civilians, were attacked by the barrel bombs of Bashar al-Assad? They rejected Bashar as a member of the Arab League, but later on, Ahmed Abul-Gheit, the president of the Arab League, shook hands with the Syrian foreign minister on the sidelines of the New York meetings that happened a couple of weeks ago. So it is very ironic when it comes to their position, simply because they are being hijacked. I mean, the Arab League is hijacked by the regimes of the region, basically the Sisi regime in Egypt, Saudi Arabia and MBS, and the United Arab Emirates, who are just being critical to Turkey. But when it comes to the violations of the Israeli side, the annexation of the West Bank and what is happening in Jerusalem, we never listen to them. When it comes to the killing of the Syrian people and the refugees in the whole world, we never heard any word from them. That's the irony that President Erdogan is speaking about it. This moribund Arab League, if you will, doesn't have the right to breach democracy and human rights to Turkey when it comes to what they're doing now. If you look at Lebanon, Iraq, all the protests in the streets are against those who represent them in the Arab League. That's not the real representation of the Arab nations and the aspirations of the people who are now protesting against these people.
And what about the Syrian regime? Will we see any diplomatic normalization between it and Turkey?
Well, Robin, President Erdogan was very critical and will stay very critical to Bashar al-Assad as a Syrian president. He says that Bashar al-Assad killed his own people, he is a murderer, and he cannot be the president of Syria. Now, this is the official stance from Turkey so far, but on the ground there are lots of things happening when it comes to pragmatic steps for the sake of the people on the ground. There might be meetings between the delegations for the sake of the safe zone. Now, there's going to be observation posts along the border replacing the YPG, and Russia and the Syrian regime will be existing in these places. Thus, a kind of cooperation might happen, but on the senior leadership, I don't believe that President Erdogan will meet with Bashar al-Assad anytime. But a kind of normalization depends on what's going to come out from the Constitutional Committee that is expected to resume its work by the end of this month. It depends on the Syrian opposition and how they're going to accept any regime change, the departure of Bashar al-Assad, and the Iranian and the Russian stance on the other hand, whether they accept departure of Bashar al-Assad in order to reach a reconciliation and a political solution with a transitional period. All of this will be clear in the coming few months, depending on the kind of negotiation that is going to take place.
Okay, Ahmet Alioğlu, TRT World Editor-at-Large, many thanks for your analysis.